Do you let your guys eat or drink while they're driving? Look at this guy. No hands on the wheel. Whoop, let's correct the steering. Let's put more hot sauce on the food. Like, I mean, it's, again, artificial intelligence will automatically recognize what's going on. All right, welcome everyone. My name is Jim Kronenberger. I work for Spireon, and I am going to give you a brief presentation of Spireon FleetLocate, which is a commercial GPS vehicle tracking solution along with dash cams with artificial intelligence. And this presentation is put together specifically for Junk Removal Authority customers. And before I get started, if you'd like to get more information on getting free equipment and free installation, make sure you click the link below in the description and you can get more information. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So our solution, Spireon FleetLocate, it is a commercial GPS vehicle tracking system. And what happens is we are going to provide this hardware called the FL360. And the FL360 is our newest generation GPS tracking device. Now, this device can be installed plugged directly into an OBD2 port. Most of the medium and heavy duty trucks actually have a different interface, so we can install it hidden with the proper harness where the device is totally out of sight, way up underneath the dash, and nobody can see where that device is, right? And then what's going to happen is the hardware is going to continually keep populating into your Spireon FleetLocate account. And what I want to point out, first of all, is this is an enterprise seat license, which means as many people as you authorize can use this and have access to see exactly what's going on. And what I'll point out here, first of all, up here in the top is a little indicator that says I got one vehicle in green. That means that vehicle is driving right now. If they're idling, they'd be in orange. I got 41 others shut down. I got 17 parked and or operating inside of a geofence. And I have 25 others outside of a geofence. So I'm going to click open this navigation pane here. And what I want to point out, first of all, is if I just mouse over a vehicle, that vehicle is going to kind of have like a sonar ping. So let's go over, let's look at Clem's vehicle because I see he's down in Florida. So if I mouse over Clem's Jeep, you see down outside of Tampa, I see that sonar ping. It says he's been stopped for an hour and 16 minutes. I'm going to click on top of his vehicle. Now what it's going to do is it's going to snap zoom in. I'm going to use the scroll wheel of my mouse. I'm going to go in a little bit tighter. I'm going to switch to a satellite view, and I can see that he's been stopped. It looks like he's parked over here by this marina. I'm actually going to take a look from a street level view as well, because we actually partner with Google Maps. So we're going to show street level views, satellite views, digital map views. This is the street level view of where Clem's Jeep is parked right now. And it looks like he's probably enjoying a day on the water right now, right? So now what I'm going to do is let's go back and take a look at what my wife's doing here. So I'm going to click on her vehicle, and I'm going to take a look and see where she is. And it looks like she is over by this office in Gwinnett County. And I'm going to click on what's called the trip history. Some people call it the breadcrumb trail. And what that's going to do is that's going to show the exact path that vehicle took from point A to point B. So that where she started is in that little green bubble, and you can see these are 2-minute positional updates of the exact path that vehicle took until it's that red bubble of where that vehicle shut off. And then over here to the right-hand side, you're going to see the date, the time, the speed, the direction of travel, the address, all that kind of stuff, right? So if I want to click on this one right here, it's going to do that little pulse, and you can see that's exactly where the vehicle was this morning at 8:59 a.m., right? So I can take a look at that breadcrumb trail for any vehicle that I want to take a look at here. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer, and I want to share with you some of the geofencing capability here inside the system. And what I want to point out is all these purple indicators are little indicators for the geofences, or landmarks, as some people call them. So if I come in tighter and tighter, you're going to see these geofences kind of break out. Let me come in even tighter. And now you're going to see that I've got multiple geofences here. I've got one that says Texaco and the restaurant and the fuel station. If I go to satellite view, you'll see why I made those geofences that shape, right? So if a vehicle is driving through or parked or operating inside of a geofence, it's going to populate that geofence name for you, both live on the map as well as in the reports. And I'll show you what those reports look like here in just a little bit. Now I'm going to share with you just a couple other quick things. What I really like about this system everything is typically 1 or 2 clicks away. So if I want to go to a digital map, I click that button. If I want to snap zoom out to all the vehicles, I just click this button right here, and it's going to zoom back out to show me every single vehicle that I've got inside my login. So let me scroll back into Atlanta right now, and I'm going to click on a button here to say, show me the Google traffic. And I can see it looks like traffic in town is getting a little bit better. But what I like about this is I can avoid sending somebody into a mess, or I can help them out of a mess, right? So I like the fact that all of this is continually updating here, and I can toggle that feature on or off, right? So now what I want to go into next is I want to share with you just a little bit about some of the dashboard and reporting features inside the system. So I'm going to click on the dashboard. And what I want to point out is the dashboard is a dashboard view, if you will, of different metrics that you want to see. And now as this information is building, it's going to show me some metrics that I've set up inside of my dashboard. And by the way, I can have a different dashboard than a coworker, a different one from a manager, whatever we want. And what I'll point out first of all is the dashboard sections can show you the spreadsheet type view like this, or this line chart type view like this, or even this map type view like this down here. And I can even have the same metrics side by side, speeding this week versus last week, or who's been over 80 miles this week versus last week, or idling events, or miles traveled, or any kind of things like that. So just for fun, I'm going to zoom in here and click on this dashboard tile on the map view. And I'll say, hey, wow, it says we've had 3 speeding events of at least 80 miles an hour in the last 30 days. So when I click on that, what it's going to do is it's going to show me a simple spreadsheet type view of the data inside that one bubble. And it's actually crunching that information for me right now. And it says this Nissan Altima has been the person that's done that 3 different times in that particular location. So I like the fact that I can see information really quick from that dashboard view. Again, speeding, aggressive driving, beating on the vehicle, hard acceleration, braking, idling, and so on, right? So now I'm going to go over next to the maintenance tab, and you're going to see there's a number 7 up here. Now, what does that mean? So what it's telling me is, Jim, you've got 7 assets that are now due for service, and this is built into the system. It's going to automatically tell you when assets come due for service based upon any one of 3 parameters, whichever comes first. Typically, it's going to be miles accrued or calendar time accrued. Sometimes people want to do it by engine hours accrued, right? So let's take a look at Adam's vehicle. Adam says he is due for a tune-up minor service, and he can see the mileage has actually tripped over. That's in red, even though it says he can still have about another couple more months. But I said, tell me whatever comes first, right? So let's pretend we took care of the service on Adam's vehicle. And now when I click on this, I can say, but hold on a second, I didn't do this service today. I did it back on Saturday. So I'm going to click on Saturday's date. I can override what the odometer reading was at that time, right? Because I'm looking at a service ticket, right? And I'll plug in whatever the cost was, right? And I'm going to type in here minor tune-up, right? Whatever notes that I want. So before I click save, up here it says there's 7 vehicles that are now overdue for service. So I'm going to reset the counter, and now you're going to see that number 7 just change into a 6. And now I have 6 assets here that show me they're still due for that preventative maintenance or whatever service that I've requested reminders for. And what I really like about this is the system is going to keep track of cradle to grave cost of everything that you've done to that vehicle if you let the system manage this, right? So I like the fact that this is built in standard to the system, right? Now, next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and talk just a little bit about live alerts. Live alerts are designed to tell you in real time when certain things happen that you want to know about. And that could be things like abuse in the vehicle, hard on the gas, hard on the brakes. Maybe a vehicle's operating at a time when it shouldn't, like 2 o'clock in the morning. Are they over the posted speed limit? You can choose the threshold. Hey, I'll let you have 6, but I don't want you doing 7 over the limit. Speed threshold is a high watermark, like I never want my trucks hitting 80 miles an hour. Unauthorized movement is a towing alert. That means the vehicle's moving with the ignition off. And what I want to point out is any one of these alerts can be set to be live 24/7. And I can hit 1 or multiple people via text, or 1 or multiple people via email messages, or I can be more specific and say, you know what, I want this alert active just between the hours of 10 at night and 4 in the morning, because it's being towed at that time, it's probably being stolen, and I want to know about it immediately. Now, there is an advanced platform that gives some additional information like seatbelt status, just so you know, it's about 20% of the time people opt for that. So I'm going to skip talking about seatbelt status and things like that on the advanced platform. You can be alerted for idling too long, stopping too long, if a vehicle enters or exits a geofence or landmark, but maybe more specifically around a time frame. So some people say, I don't want my trucks going to employee residence during business hours, right? So I can set up that alert and tell you about that. I can also tell you if somebody's trying to tamper with a device and say, I don't want my boss to see what I'm doing, so they will unplug it. And then there's also the ability for the system to tell you if the battery voltage starts getting low. And then if I am on that advanced tier that shows seatbelt status, I can tell you about DTC fault codes, tire pressures, engine oil life remaining, and also fuel tanks. But here's the key thing. If you do want to look at the advanced tier instead of the standard tier, the advanced tier can report the information as long as the vehicle's ECU can report it. What I've seen is a lot of medium and heavy duty trucks don't tell you about tire pressures. They don't tell you about oil life remaining. Some may tell you about DTC fault codes, right? Fuel tank levels, a lot of the vehicles can show you. So for that reason, only typically about 20% of the people will order the advanced tier instead of the standard tier. Now, there's a couple of alerts that hit here that are inside the alerts queue. Let's just look at one of these. It says this vehicle is doing 6 or more over the limit. That's because somebody wanted to be notified of that. And it says this vehicle hit 47 miles an hour in a 35 zone. And I know the date, the time, the address, all that kind of stuff. So live alerts can hit people via text, via email, or populate it to this alerts queue. Right now, the next section I'm going to touch on is the driver behavior. And the driver behavior scorecard is designed to automatically rank your guys from best to last or worst to first. So I'm going to click the header up here and it's going to rank them. And you're going to see numbers can be as high as 100 or as low as 0. I like to equate these numbers to scores back in school. So 90 to 100 would be an A, 80s are a B, 70s are a C, and so on. So let's scroll down and take a look at this Subaru. This Subaru's got a score of 50. That's kind of bad, right? Because 50s, that's probably about a failing score. But here's what I really like about the system. As the administrator, you can choose how these scores are calculated. So there's 11 different settings in here, and I can pick and choose which one of these are important and how important they are. So just for fun, I'm going to back some of these off, right? Again, the higher that I make the number, the more that activity is going to debit from their score. So let's just back off some of these speeding things for fun. I can also ding them for idling or hard braking, hard acceleration. I'm going to click save, and you're going to see it's going to recalculate everybody. Now, that Subaru that we clicked on just a minute ago, he had a score of 50. Let's take a look. Now he's got a score of 61. So I just want to show you how easy it is to fine-tune, adjust exactly how that score is calculated, right? Now, one of the things that people ask me for sometimes is, hey, Jim, so I've got multiple people that might be driving my vehicles, and I want to be able to track, hey, is it Jim that's the bad driver, or is it John, or what have you? So we have an optional driver ID key fob system. And the way that works is if you want this feature installed with the GPS device, we're going to have the install technician install a key fob reader, and every single employee that drives for you is going to get their own key fob, right? And this key fob is electronically assigned to that employee. So what happens is every time you start the ignition, you have to touch the key fob to the reader, and it's going to make a beep sound to signify they've registered. So now it says Jim is the driver. Now, if they don't fob in, the built-in buzzer for the GPS hardware that we've installed underneath the dash that's going to start beeping and buzzing at them is designed to pester them so they fob in to positively identify who they are, right? And that's an option that we can install. But what I want to point out is that's the reason why I have the ability to view information by driver independently of vehicle. So regardless of how many vehicles I drove for you, it's going to tell you exactly what my score is, right? So that's a little bit on driver ID and the driver scorecard. One last thing I'm going to share with you before I jump into the dash cams is just a couple of different reports. And what I want to point out is any report in the system, you can run it right now, or you can schedule it, meaning I want this report scheduled to be waiting in my email inbox each morning or once a week or whatever you want. And each report can come to you as a PDF file like this, or as an Excel spreadsheet. So this is called the trips consolidated report. I'm going to share with you what happened to me this day. So you're going to see this day at the top, I drove 356 miles and I was moving for about 6 hours. And now here's the breakout. Each one of these lines are ignition sequences. So I was at a location called Waterscape, and I drove exactly 1 mile to the grocery store. You see, I was inside the grocery store for 32 minutes, right? Then I drove from the grocery store back to Waterscape. I drove exactly 1 mile. And you see, I started at 3:07, got there at 3:16. Now I'm parked for 46 minutes. Then I decided it's time to drive from Florida back to Atlanta. So I drove 73 miles. I stopped at a place called Fletcher's. That's a place I usually stop for gas. You see, I was there for 4 minutes. Then I drove 2 more miles. I stopped somewhere to get a sandwich. You see, I was over there for a minute. Then I drove 47 more miles up to a location called Greenville, Alabama, and that's where I stopped. I think that was a rest stop. You see, I was there for 9 minutes. And then looks like I stopped maybe somewhere to get a soda or something on the road. Then you see my last stint was 232 miles, where I arrived at my cul-de-sac at 10:07 p.m. So this is going to show the odometer at the beginning of the ignition sequence, the odometer at the end of ignition off, how many miles accrued, start and end of ignition, ignition time, moving time, idle time, and stop time at each location, right? And I like the fact that, again, the report will give you all those exact details. This vehicle status report, just a quick snapshot. Hey, what's the odometer reading on all my vehicles? What's engine hours? What's battery voltage? Things like that. If I am on the advanced platform and the advanced platform ECU in that truck can report tire pressures and oil life, I'm going to show that to you. 90% oil life. There's my tire pressures on all 4 corners, right? I can also have the system send a report directly to somebody back at the office that says, hey, here's all the vehicles that are coming due for service, just like we can do through the web user interface, right? And then alerts, here's alerts on low batteries. This is a vehicle that sits for long periods of time, and I can see the battery was down to 5.9 volts. So it's telling me before the battery goes totally dead, right? And then there's lots of alerts on if I am on the advanced platform and the vehicle's ECU can report it, I can tell you about, again, problems with tire pressure. This right rear tire looks like it's 63% underinflated, right? So again, depends if you want the advanced platform. Again, 20% of the people will opt for that, right? And then also here's reports on idling. These are all idling events. And I said, I want to know any idling events that are at least 5 minutes. You can choose the parameter. And you can see here's a guy idling for an hour and a half at lunchtime. To me, that looks like somebody idling in the Wendy's parking lot while they're eating their sandwich, right? Go inside and eat where the air conditioning's free. Don't keep idling a company truck and burning up unnecessary fuel and expense, right? And then speeding. There's like 6 different ways the system can tell you about speeding. Number 1, I can show it to you live on the map. Number 2, I can show you in that trip history or that breadcrumb trail. Number 3, I can populate it to that dashboard I showed a little bit earlier. Number 4, I can hit you with a live alert via an email message or via text message. Number 6, I can hit you with a report one of 2 different ways. Speed threshold, this one here, I ask for who's over 65, right? You can see every single one of these are my wife, right? And you can see this time here, she hit 81 miles an hour on the freeway at 11:17. I can't say anything about it because that's my wife, but again, it is what it is, right? Then the other one is, well, maybe I want to know about speeding in a residential area or speeding in an urban area, right? So here I ask for who's at least 15 or more over the limit. You can see this vehicle hit 74 in a 55 zone. So again, lots of ways to tell you about the speeding. These are just 2 of the reports that I use quite a bit. And then same thing with hard braking, hard acceleration. If you want to know about it, you can see every single one of these are my wife. You can see she's hard on the brakes coming into my cul-de-sac at 9:32 at night, right? So there's a couple other reports as well, but that's some of the more popular ones. Now, I want to transition over to the dash cams. This is my favorite part of the system. Our dash cam is an all-in-one device, and it is a dual lens camera. And what I want to point out is there's a forward-facing lens and there's 2 rear-facing lenses. One is high definition color. The other is infrared for low light conditions like before sunrise or after sunset. And what I want to point out is this camera doesn't come on with ignition. The camera comes on based upon vibration or impact or any movement of the vehicle. So once that happens, both lenses are on and now recording. And there's artificial intelligence and machine vision built into the camera that's going to automatically recognize, is somebody messing with a handheld device? Are they driving without their seatbelt? If it's important to you, if you want to know if they're smoking or eating a meal while they're driving a company vehicle, or they're distracted with whatever, right? It can also recognize if somebody's trying to obstruct the lens, if someone's trying to tamper with the camera, if they're trying to unplug the power. There's actually a battery inside, and it's still going to record somebody tampering with or trying to unplug the power. It's going to record it and automatically upload a video for you. And then in the front lens, there's also ADAS, Advanced Driver Assistance System, which is going to automatically recognize if somebody's tailgating or following too close for the speed they're traveling at. So before I jump in a couple of videos and what the software looks like, these are screenshots of employees that actually sign documents with their employer that says, I will not use my phone while I'm driving a company vehicle because I know it's against the law. And you can see exactly what they're doing, right? So let's jump into the camera section. So if you got the camera installed with your GPS, inside the dashboard, it's going to default to today, but I can change this time frame, yesterday, last week, last month, whatever. And what I want to point out here, first of all, is before I jump into the dashboard in more detail, over here to the right, the camera is going to be in one of two different colors. If the camera is in green, that camera is on right now. So let's click it on Adam's camera. And I just clicked on the system asking me to show a live stream of both the front lens and the rear lens, and it looks like his vehicle is in a shop right now, and looks like that's the forward-facing lens, and he may be, I don't know what they're doing in his vehicle here, but let's take a look at a couple other things going on. If the camera's in yellow, that means the camera's in a sleep mode, so the camera still has power, and I can still access that camera, but actually the camera lens is not live because that vehicle's not being driven. So over here to the left in the dashboard, it says we've had 41 cell phone use events over the last 7 days. So if I click this, they're automatically going to load over here to the right. So if I click on this, here's those 41 events. So let's just click on Clem, and now it's going to automatically pull up, and you can see he's holding the phone up to his head, but he could be holding it in front of him, whatever. And I can see exactly what he was doing, right? And again, it's going to superimpose the time, the date, the speed, all that stuff. Let's take a look at another one. Let's look at what Adam was doing. And we can see Adam is looking down. Even though the phone is out of view, the artificial intelligence knows exactly what he's doing, right? Now, I want to show you a couple of additional videos here and show you exactly what the camera can capture. So this is a video of a customer that actually had somebody driving where they dropped their phone, and when they leaned over to pick up their phone, they tugged on the wheel, right? So this is at 3 o'clock in the morning. Luckily, there's no pedestrians out, or not many other cars, and you're going to see he's driving down the road. And now, right about now is where he drops his phone. So he's going to lean over to pick it up, and watch him start drifting to the left. Now he's going to slam into this curb. Boom. This guy just hit the curb. He's in a passenger vehicle, and he busted off the lower valence. He blew out the left front tire, and he bent the rim on that vehicle, right? So again, you can see exactly what happened. Let's look at another video here. You're going to see this guy. Watch his eyes. Down, 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 up, down, 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 up. This guy's driving a big truck, and you notice his eyes are on his phone more than he is looking ahead. I think that is terrifying, right? Again, artificial intelligence automatically recognizes it and automatically uploads that video for you to see through the web user interface. Now, I'm going to pause this for a second, and I'm going to show you. This is a video of a crash. And what I want to point out, you see it's 7:54 in the morning. The sun is cranking in. It's hard to see, but there's a vehicle right here who's waiting to turn into the parking lot. This is a Ford F550, right? And I'm going to share with you what happened inside the cab after I show you the crash. So this guy really can't see that well. So he starts pulling out, and you're going to see he runs into the side of that vehicle, right? So I'm going to share with you what happened inside the vehicle. So I'm going to pause it. And what you're going to see is this guy just set down this towel because he was wiping the windshield because the windshield was really dirty. This customer, one of their policies is no smoking inside the vehicle. Well, the guy who runs the other shift was identified 52 times smoking in that vehicle that week. So all that cigarette smoke film is on the windshield, and it's lit up by the sun coming in. So he's cleaning off the windshield the best that he can. And now you're going to see what happens from inside. And the system can also record audio as well. So if you want, it'll actually play the audio of what that camera is capturing inside of the cab of the vehicle, right? Let's look at one more. Look at this guy, 83 miles an hour. Look at his eyes, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, down. Again, he's looking down more than he is looking up. I think that is absolutely terrifying, right? And then let's share with you one more that I think is really crazy. So let's open up this video. So again, do you let your guys eat or drink while they're driving? Look at this guy, no hands on the wheel. Whoop, let's correct the steering. Let's put more hot sauce on the food. Like, I mean, again, artificial intelligence will automatically recognize what's going on. So I like the fact that you don't have to go look for the video. The system is going to automatically identify what's going on and automatically tag it here to the web user interface, right? So the bottom line is this system does commercial GPS vehicle tracking. It also has the ability to add that optional driver ID key fob system. It also has the option to add that advanced tier so we can see things like seatbelt status and fuel tank levels and DTC fault codes and things like that. And then also, this is all inside of one user interface, right? And again, just to make sure, if you want to look into how to get free equipment and free installation, make sure you click the link in the description below, and you're going to see all the information that you want. So that's a quick run through on Spireon FleetLocate. Thanks so much for your time, and hope this helped you out quite a bit.